city of Madeira had gone on the same. David was one of the many who ignored the signs, carrying on as if things would somehow return to normal in the future. Despite concerns from Granddad and Joe's mother, still living then, he convinced both they should stay. Even as fuel reserves ran low and options for travel became scarce, still, he stalled. Soon, food supplies dwindled in Madeira, and costs surged. Eventually, there was nothing left in the shops. It was only then that David finally took action, when it was too late to properly search for a new place to live. He lifted Joe in his arms, and their family walked out of the city with thousands of others who'd let everything slip away. From there, they'd walked for miles, till they found this place that once used to dispose of the city's waste. It was a fitting place for them to end up. "It's just difficult knowing how life was in the city before everything," Joe said, reluctantly trying to take the sting out of his previous words. David nodded. He looked as sad and broken as the guitar in the corner. "I could tell you a story about the city," Granddad murmured, sitting up on his mattress and scratching sleepily at his beard. Everyone called Madeira the city now, as if it was the only one that had ever existed. "About what it is and how it came to be." Joe crouched down, looking into his grandfather's rheumy eyes. "Another time, Granddad. Sorry I woke you." Granddad relaxed down again, then spoke muffled on his side. "You raised your voice before. Don't forget the tale of the man who shouted often, and the man who whispered only once." "I won't," Joe said. "I remember all your stories, and I remember which man the people listened to." Granddad murmured assent, closing his eyes. Joe and David waited as the old man drifted back to sleep, the only sound his wheezing breath. Once his grandfather was asleep, Joe went to the shack's window hole. Part of him still wanted to rage and yell and get his anger out. He knew it wouldn't really help, especially since his father never argued back. Joe sighed as he looked out over the town. Shacks similar to their own were packed in tight rows down the slope. There was a gap through the rows where a trench ran down the hill, splitting the town in half. The townspeople called it the stream, though the ground within it was as dry and hard as the rest. Beyond there rose the mountains, gigantic summits of waste once known as Landfill. All the rubbish there had been thrown away by Madeira, back when the city still functioned. The mountains were black in the night, dwarfing the hill they lived on. Above the mountains, tiny shapes swirled over the stars. It was impossible to tell which were plastic bags lifted on the wind and which were crows. When Joe looked at the mountains, their molding stench grew stronger. It was as if the sight of them pushed their poison into his lungs. David joined Joe by the window hole and looked out. "How could one city throw all this away?" Joe asked. "You couldn't have saved anything for us?" David scratched dirt out from under his nails. "When I look out at those mountains, I always wonder how much I threw away. I'm sorry this is the life we live, Joe. I wanted better for you." David's apology only irritated Joe. Sorry didn't change anything. He turned away from his father and left through the front door, out into the night where the full moon shone overhead. Joe envied the moon, separate and away from it all. He knew if he stayed, he would end up saying more that he'd regret, and he didn't want that. He strode quickly away, aware of his father's moonlit face, watching him go.